I had a lot of fun creating my very first video, and actually some of my friends and also just people all around DM'd me saying that it was enjoyable to watch, which was a huge deal. Wasn't really sure about what I was doing, but I knew I wanted to do something with that YouTube channel. It's really too soon to judge on anything right now. I'm talking about like growth and how it can fit some people need, or just some people need for entertainment. But I am sure one thing, those 30 minutes, though enjoyable to create, was a huge pain in the ass at the end. Basically, it took me 1 hour and 45 minutes to create the actual piece, 2 days to edit those 1 hour and 45 minutes, and then, because of my amazing French countryside connection, 6 hours to upload that video. 6 hours, 1080p, 60 FPS. So something needed to be done to find a better solution, something a bit more viable for my environment and just for time in general, because with engineering studies, freelance work, and just mental health in general, we should do something else. So let's try this out. I created a few days ago a new IBC, some interactive bullcrap I usually create online, using HTML canvas, which is a bit easier than WebGL. And how about this will be like the A roll, and I will just talk to you through what I have done, and I will just put some images of what I have actually coded and how I did them. So here we go. I knew I wanted to create something. As usual, I opened my computer, but I don't know what I want to start doing. And I had this idea of circles embedded inside of circles, and you make them move with just some simple trigonometry, some sinus and cosinus functions, but put an offset on each and every one of them to see what can happen. So this time, instead of using some frameworks like Vue.js, like I usually use, I wanted to do something completely from scratch, which might be a bit easier to understand if you actually want to view the code which, like usual, is available on GitHub. Link will be in the description, as well as a link to the actual experiment. Now let's just simply call it an IBC. So also a link to this particular IBC. So I started by creating an HTML document with nothing in it, and I tried to use as less libraries as possible. I don't even know if that is English, is it? And yeah, after that I just started. So since I use a canvas, I need to create a canvas element and then call it in a separate JavaScript file. I could have simply did it in the index.html file, but for, let's say, organization purposes, I like to create mine in different files. So in that file, I just create a variable containing the actual HTML canvas element and then call the context. The context, this actual object that I call CTX, and which absolutely everywhere you go looking for canvas tutorials, is like a convention of calling the actual context. With that, you can create a lot of things, images, playing with SVGs, and what actually interests us, circles, using the arc method. Since also I create an animation, I need a rendering loop. That will be using a request animation frame, also called a RAF. This is just something that is called each and every time a frame is drawn to your computer. Also, the number of frames you get per second is linked to your actual monitor. It's basically like video games. I think you get the point. You should get the point. If you're here, I think you are just a little bit interested by tech. I hope so. So with that, I can simply start. So the first thing that I need to think about is that each and every time I create something, I need to erase everything. And with that, I can simply create a loop function that is going to draw a bunch of circles. What I have done is that I created the hydrate circles function. It's basically a function that is going to, well, hydrate or fill up my circles array, which is going to take a few parameters. It will simply be an array of objects containing the position of the circles, its radius, and also a bit later, its color. Once I finished hydrating my circles array, I can play with it in the update function. So for that simple thing, as I told you, I need to erase everything each and every time I want to draw a new frame. So I use this clearRect function. And inside of that, I put the different circles in a while loop. Why a while loop? Because it is much more optimized than anything else in a request animation frame. So once I have that, I simply draw my circles from the center to the outside, because otherwise it is going to be drawn above the other circle, and then that's it. That's how I create circles. Concerning the colors, I wanted to have like a rainbow effect across my different circles. So for that, you can use different solutions, I went with HSL color encoding. Basically, it's like if you used Photoshop or anything else. Oh, let's take the Blender example. It's just a wheel, and the H is the actual degrees on which you are on the wheel. S is for the saturation of that particular color, and L is for light, luminosity. I don't know, light. I will go with light. Basically, I just need to increment the degrees of my HSL function to have a rainbow effect. And that's how I did it. In my hydrate function, I had this little algorithm that is just creating an HSL color, and I just pass in my degrees parameter, the index of my circle. That's how it's done. And then to make them move, it's actually pretty simple. I just need an angle that I am going to pass for the x-axis in a sinus method and in the y-axis with a cosinus method. Simple trigonometry. Maybe you saw that in high school, maybe you don't remember. It's not a big problem. Math isn't really important when you're developing, but I found out that trigonometry is something that I use when I code almost every day. So once I have that, actually instead of passing those positions directly to the arc function, I pass them through a translate method. And I need to be careful with that because each and every time I use a translate method, I need to use a save and restore function. Otherwise, you will have big problems with your code. I had a notification. It's my English professor. What's up, my dude? Let me know when you have a minute to chat briefly. I hope I am not in trouble. So yeah, that's just basically how I move those different circles. And then for interactivity, because we are developers, we create something not just for them to move, but for a user to play with the thing. I use a GUI that is just going to take each and every one of my params that I have put at the top of my program. This is how I usually code. When I create something, I directly create a params variable containing different parameters for my application. And then after that, when I am almost finished, I can put them in a GUI for the users to just be able to play with them. So for example, the number of circles. So I have to call the hydrate circles function each and every time that particular parameter is changed. Same stuff for the color offset. The color offset is just, when I told you that in my HSL, I just pass the index of my circles inside the actual degrees rotation, I want also to add a factor to that. So it's like a frequency, so you can play with that also. The speed of the animation and also the animation intensity, how far the circles are from the center. And with that, that's it. A simple visual, a bit hypnotic, done in less than 30 minutes. And also I have to put it online. So as usual, what I use is Netlify. Netlify is a simple solution to put anything online from any repo. It uses GitHub because this is what I use, but I think it also uses Bitbucket. I am not sure about that. Let me just verify that for the second. Yeah, GitHub, GitLab, and Bitbucket. Choose your flavor. And with that, it is online. I put it to my personal domain. And yeah, that's it. Publish that on Twitter. Like me, I think I had like 10,000 likes on this one. I didn't. But yeah, now you have something you can play with, you can show your friends, and you will be the king of the school. So yeah, I think that's it. Thank you for being here with me today. Like, comment, and subscribe, as they always say on YouTube. I need to learn how to say that correctly. And other than that, I just say see ya in another video, I guess. Bye. Peace. See ya. I really still need to find something.